Hi, I'm Hind, and fuck, I'm nearly 50. And lately I've been thinking a lot about success. Not the versions we were sold in our 20s, the titles, the late nights, the awards, but the kind that actually feels good. The kind that makes you feel proud, not just productive. Because somewhere along the way, success started to look a lot like exhaustion disguised as achievement. And I don't know about you, but I'm craving something different. More meaning, less noise, more freedom, less proving. And that brings me to today's guest, someone I've known since those wild agency days when work was life. Colin Jowell and I worked together back in the good old days at Wonderman and Y&R, where we were pitching nonstop weekend after weekend. We were young, caffeinated, although mine was Red Bull, constantly chasing the next win, and let's be honest, completely forgetting what an actual life was. We were in a pitch winning streak so strong, it was so addictive, but also completely unsustainable. Fast forward a few decades and Colin's journey has evolved in the most brilliant way. He's gone from building brands to building meaning, from helping companies tell stories to helping people capture their own through Bill Will, a platform that helps us leave behind something that actually matters, our stories, our values, our lesson, and our love. Colin's one of those rare humans who can make you laugh, think deeply, and question your entire definition of success all in the same breath. This conversation is about redefining what it means to make it, the beauty of midlife reinvention, and how we can live and lead with more purpose, honesty, and joy. Because fuck, I'm nearly 50, and maybe the goal now isn't to do more, it's to do what matters. Colin Jowell is a strategist, speaker, coach, and the founder of Bill Will, a platform that helps people capture and share what truly matters, their stories, beliefs, and life lessons. After decades working with some of the world's biggest brands, from Optus to Combank, Colin realised that while we're brilliant at building careers, we're terrible at building legacies. Not the kind made of money, but the kind made of meaning. Bill Will is his answer to that. It helps people make sense of what really matters through three very human dimensions: the financial, the practical, and the personal. Because legacy isn't just about what happens when we're gone. It's about the small details that make up our lives now. The quirks, the humour, the little acts of kindness, the things people actually remember. From forgotten passwords to probate paperwork.
Fun stuff.
Yeah. To the unspoken hopes we have for our kids. Colin's work reminds us that legacy isn't built in the big moments, it's tucked away in the small ones. If you've ever hit pause and wondered, what's all this really for? This episode is for you and will hit home. Colin Billy Joel, welcome to Fuck, I'm Nearly 50. If someone met you at a dinner party and you couldn't say founder, how would you describe yourself?
It's a hilarious question because I'd never say founder.
I know, but
But if I was trying to impress somebody, I would probably say I'm an applied behavioral scientist.
Right.
But I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've done a series of businesses for myself and with my partner. And now I have a little tech business that helps people define what kind of legacy they'd like to leave behind for their loved ones.
I love the whole thing about legacy. Can you just talk about what legacy means to you?
Well, legacy, it can be a bit of a scary word because I think we can get trapped into, I suppose, the bigger things that we've done in our lives and this myth that we're somehow going to be remembered in some way, shape, or form 1, 2, 3 generations from now. Legacy is really about, for me, it's about the love and the relationships that you leave behind, and leaving behind memories that are both, positive but also pain-free. And I think we'll talk about those things in sort of separate measure because they're equally important. And we think about we think about the positive stuff, but there's a lot of pain that can be inadvertently left behind if we're not careful about it.
Yeah, absolutely. What's one moment in your life that made you go, fuck, something has to change?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to say losing my dad in 2020. Um, we were, I suppose, lucky to a certain extent that we knew that he was sick. And so he was in a hospital nearby, and I got to see him pretty much every single day, which is something I hadn't done since my childhood.
Yeah.
And a lot of the conversations we had talked about the life that he'd led and the legacy that he was leaving. And he was a man who, in my estimation, my dad was my hero, done so many amazing things. And yet he was so uncertain about what legacy he was leaving behind. And so I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to achieve half as much as he did. And he's still worried about this stuff. I need to start focusing on different things and going, I'm living my life in all the wrong, chasing all of the wrong things,
Yeah, I can understand that. You've had a fascinating career working with big brands, big egos, big ideas. What was the tipping point where you realized success wasn't just what you build, but what you leave?
Yeah, I mean, so I went through an experience where I'd built an agency, I'd sold that agency, and then I'd left the business that I sold it to and went back into working for another agency. And don't get me wrong, great place, lovely people, all the things that I'd left were still there. But I just looked at the kind of work that I was doing, and advertising for me had kind of lost its stature, I guess.
Sparkle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember a time early in our careers where, you could turn on the television and you could, 2 out of the 3 ads with each given break would be work that you'd had a hand in. And that felt like something. And then I was like, even if I were to achieve that again today, what would that be?
It's different meaning.
Totally. And then you look back on the process of getting to that. Well, what's part of that? Well, that was building businesses and helping people get started in their careers and, changing lives in that kind of way. And, occasionally I'll get notes from people who I'd helped early out in their career. And that's the stuff that really matters. So it's less about the work,
The
the
output.
recognition, the awards, and who gives a fuck, It's
Totally. Have you found yourself chasing something you thought you wanted, then realized it wasn't actually yours to chase?
Yeah. I mean, when I sold the business the first time, I sold it to a consulting company.
Yeah.
And I'd started my life as a consultant. And if you read anyone's CV and they've left consulting after 2 years, it wasn't necessarily their choice, is all I'm going to say. And so 20 years later, I was back in this consulting environment. And, there was this sort of, if I'd wanted to chase the past a partner again. And I was like, it's the last thing in the world that I want to do. It was the first time I'd ever looked ahead and gone, the logical next step is not
What I want.
what I want at all.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. So you've spent years helping brands tell better stories. What made you want to help people tell theirs?
Oh, I mean, I think firstly, everyone has a story to tell.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And yet, if you sit someone down and you ask them to tell that story, most people don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
And I think I watched that to a certain extent with my dad. And Bill Will, in many ways, is inspired by all the things that he did do in that regard, but also some of the things that he failed to do in that regard. But I just realized we've all got things that we need to pass on. Some of it will prevent pain from happening, and some of it will bring immense comfort. And yet most of us don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And it's not easy, and it's scary, and it's intimidating. And so I looked around the market, as it were, and I was like, oh, well, maybe there's something that's out there. And none of them really did it in the way that I thought it could be.
Yeah.
It could be done.
Okay, interesting. For anyone who hasn't heard of Bill Will, how do you describe it in your own words?
It is a platform where you can go through the critical aspects of your life.
Yeah.
We talk about it in terms of the financial and the practical and the personal. And you can leave critical information that will either spare your loved ones endless hours of searching and pain and uncertainty, or bring them immense comfort in letting them understand that your wishes and your hopes and your dreams for them.
Yeah.
And we all have people in our lives, whether it's kids that you're looking after or parents that you might be leaving behind, which is, in some cases, it's both.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we go, okay, well, if I wasn't here,
Well,
then what? Then what?
Yeah. And it's interesting. I, prompted by this discussion, I did go through and start doing it for me. Well,
It's confronting.
because I've already got my will and my letters of wishes, all of that's already done.
Yeah.
But just, it is confronting thinking about what is the message that I want my kids to be
100%.
left with? What is something that I want them to know? Like, it literally is, what is the knowledge and the wealth of wisdom that you are passing on to them so that they can remember that? Because you're right, like 2, 3, 4 generations are not going to remember us.
No.
Like, unless you actually did change the world, they are not going to remember the everyday people.
No.
But you do have a role to play in building their foundations as a human,
100%.
which then will have a flow-on effect to the people that they surround themselves with.
100%. And there's no real vehicle. Like, you don't, and it doesn't have to be war and peace, you know.
No.
Where we're at with how we solve for that particular problem on the app is, well, this is actually where we've actually started using some AI to help people.
Yeah.
Because, okay, firstly, your wishes for your kids are going to change from year to year.
Oh,
And then from day to day.
and also the crap that you accumulate as well, like
100%.
it
And
needs to be included.
so we take people on a sort of it's called Bill, obviously.
Yeah.
And it takes people on this sort of journey of, okay, well, let's get the life and death stuff out of the way.
Okay, so that's why the name is. Okay, right. And now I get it.
Well,
Yeah.
it started as a will for your bills and your bank accounts.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
we've turned Bill into a whole new creature.
Yeah.
And so Bill will talk you through the life and death stuff, like what are the allergies that are going to kill your child that
Yeah,
people should know about.
Yeah.
But then also, what are the things that bring them comfort? And then
Yeah.
guide them into the conversation around, well, you know, are there any habits or chores or attitudes towards technology, or what do you want for their education? So it sort of guides you in a sort of a very gentle kind of way, starting with the basic stuff that you go, yeah, I should probably do
that.
this.
Yeah.
And someone should know this.
Yeah.
Because, you know, what we found, even between couples, the information isn't necessarily symmetrically shared.
Yes. I can imagine that.
And
yes.
so having the bot kind of lead the conversation is kind of, it means that it's not as confrontational because they're, you know, they're being asked questions mutually together.
Yeah. What do you think? See, I think it's so interesting that, you know, when I talk to people about Bill, they'll go, oh, it's just too confronting.
Yeah.
How do you get around that? Like, even my nan, who's 93,
Yeah.
or 93 tomorrow, she doesn't want to talk about death.
You know, I mean, I almost understand it more at your nan's age than I do at ours. And I know that sounds like an inverse logic.
Yeah.
Because at our age, actually, the confrontation of it, I try to get people around reframing it. It's not about the imminence of your death.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
It is actually about the complexity of your life. And
Yeah.
what
Okay.
you
Okay.
would
Okay.
do, or what your loved ones were to do, if you weren't here to give them the mental Rolodex of all of that information that you just keep carrying around in your head. So it's not about whether you're 50 or 60 or 70 or 80, but how complicated is your life, and how easy would it be for someone to pick that stuff up? I mean, I joke that I invented this because if something were to have happened to me and the lights went out, that would be the first time my partner would know that the electricity hadn't been. So and then you multiply that by that's one field
thing.
of about 1,500 that we collect. So and that stuff becomes genuine pain.
Yeah.
Genuine pain.
Do you think in doing this, you've realised just how overcomplicated we make our lives?
Totally.
And how much shit that we accumulate, and how much stuff that we just add and don't need to?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think there's this really basic aha moment. So one of the cool things on the app is that it connects to your bank account and it finds all of your bills for you,
I love
right?
that. Yeah.
And so and everyone's, I'm not going to use the streamer brand name, but they have that moment where they go, I'm paying for these.
Yeah.
And then there's this another module where they've got all of their possessions where they can get sentimental possessions. Of course, if cataloging these things becomes a pain in the derriere, what are you even doing hanging on to these?
Exactly. But also the time involved in maintaining the things. You go, what, are they actually adding joy, or are they just
100%.
being a maintenance thing that I need to carry on for my family?
Well, one of the things, putting on the behavioral science hat for a sec, we become attenuated to things both positive and negative really, really quickly. So if we have something really bad happen into our lives, one of our best survival instincts is our ability to adjust. But unfortunately, that also works with the things and the stuff. You stop looking around the house and seeing the beautiful artwork or the things that you worked so hard to achieve. You just accept that they're there.
Yeah.
And then if there's too much of it, it can become oppressive.
Yeah.
And so, it's a way of sort of Marie Kondoing your administrative life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I find it quite satisfying, but, about 30 to 40% of the population find it satisfying. About 34 to 40% of people couldn't give
They don't care. They don't care. They're just like, whatever. I'm happy to accumulate.
People often say to me, oh, what do I care? I'll be dead. But I go, okay, that's all right. For the rest of us who care about the people we leave behind, that's what we're there for.
Yeah, it's interesting. So one of my really good friends, both of her parents passed at separate times, and the admin load that she now carries in managing it,
100%.
it's a lot.
It's a full-time job.
It actually is a full-time job. And the hard thing is that they love you, but leaving all this shit behind is actually really selfish, because it's leaving it to them to clear it up.
100%. I mean, we reckon on the platform, if you persevere, you have to, and that's why we've built it in this modular way, is because do like a module a day max, maybe even 2 or 3 a week, and you'll get there in a couple of weeks. But for every 5 minutes you spend on the platform, you're probably saving your loved one about an hour or 2 hours of hunting. Right? Think about it. If you didn't know who the electricity was with,
where
would you go?
You'd have to go through emails, and you'd have to which email? Is it invoice? Is it by company? There's a lot.
So we reckon we can save a family between 200 to 300 hours of hunting, and in some cases, pure uncertainty. One of the first things a family will fight about, if it's not clear, is what's your funeral plan? How would you?
Yeah. Because it happens within the first 7 days.
100%.
And you're already in that grief stage and
100%.
not knowing what to do.
And religious views are over here, the family may be over there, and somewhere in between, a plan needs to be made at a time when you cannot make a plan. And so, that's often one of the first places that families start fighting.
And then they continue.
And
with
then
money
started fighting. The money doesn't make it better. Money does not make that better.
Why do you think we avoid thinking about what we'll leave behind until it's too late?
I just think people don't think about things in terms of the complexity of their lives. I think they can think about it. There's this great Steve Jobs commencement thing where he talks about, so it says, if you act like every day is going to be your last, one day you'll be right. And it's a really good, and he in that speech he really talks about the fact that thinking about death consistently is one of the best ways of, I think he says, avoiding the trap of thinking we have anything to lose. And I found that really one of the profound things around sort of driving that is that we avoid doing it because we don't want to think. We think that by thinking about it, we'll invite it into our lives.
Yeah.
But I view it in completely the different way. When was the last time you imagined a situation and it happened exactly as you thought it was going to? Never.
There's always something there.
There's always something different. So if you
unless you spend the time manifesting and manifesting.
I've never manifested accurately in my life.
Okay,
always just a little bit different. It's always great, but it's just not what I anticipated. And the same goes with death. You can't manifest the perfect death. I mean, if you were to receive a diagnosis tomorrow, would you, and think about future you, having finished the will, having done everything in its place.
I'd be so happy.
So pleased, because you'd get those last, then however long you could travel or go dancing or doing, or that's what you want to be spending that time doing. So it's not and that's why I go, I get it if you're 70. Like if you're 70 and your life is kind of shut down and it's simplified and you would rather not think about it, or 80 or 90 these days.
Yeah.
But at our age, at the fuck I'm nearly 50 phase, actually this is when like time would be really better spent
Doing that.
doing other things.
Yeah.
So interleave hopefully I've inspired you to do at least the other 3 modules today.
I'm definitely going to.
Do it interleave with the other things, and then when the time comes, you're just like, oh great,
done it.
I can do the things that I want to do. I can spend time connecting with the people that I love.
Yeah. And actually leaving a bit more of a legacy
and
with them.
And creating those memories.
Yeah.
When you still have the time.
Yeah, rather than stressing about the admin.
Rather than going, where's my bank account?
Yeah, exactly.
Says no one.
You said before that how we live is how we'll be remembered.
Yeah.
What do you think most people get wrong about that?
Yeah. Okay. So not Steve Jobs, didn't invent the iPhone. Not Romeo and Michelle, I didn't invent a Post-it either. People think it's about the big things.
Yeah.
And it is not about the big things. In fact, I know that my soon-to-be husband at the end of the year is not going to remember even anything I've done with Bill Will. He's not going to remember that. The moment he'll remember me is when he hears a really bad pun-laden dad joke. and he's going to wish that I'd either told it to him or that he could tell it to me. And it's in those small details that our true legacy lies.
Yeah.
The things that make us, that are where our true personality exists. And in those moments that ultimately last a lifetime.
Yeah.
Even on those big trips that we take, is it, seeing Big Ben, or was it the ice cream you had walking down the street? It's always the ice cream.
Always ice cream, particularly if it's like lavender flavored. Tasmania. Yeah.
100%.
If someone listening feels like they're just getting through the day, how can they start living with more purpose right now without it feeling like another job on the list?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think about it like purpose. Go small.
Yeah.
Come right back to the present. We don't create any change in our lives by focusing on these giant goals. The most effective way to create change in your life is to do the smallest thing possible on a consistent basis. And so it is, again, it's not about the big things. It's about, okay, well, what is the one thing I can do for myself today? Whether it's go to the gym, or,
call someone,
or spend an extra half an hour with the kids or whatever. What is the smallest possible thing that you can do that will add meaning and value to your life?
Yeah.
And just and then don't change. Keep doing that until you think of something else to do.
Yeah.
So starting small and staying small, and all the habit change guys will talk about this in that way, rather than thinking about, oh, I'm not living my purpose and I need to find what this thing is. And it comes clear over time. And then you suddenly realize actually it was there all along in the little the little moments we have.
Yeah. And I think even with that, I always ask myself, where can I find the joy? Where is the joy in this?
Absolutely.
Because with the joy comes those small moments of just warmth and love within you.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Legacy across 3 dimensions: the financial, the practical, the personal. Can you?
Why?
What? Why? What do they mean? What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Yeah, surely the will covers this, and
shouldn't just be done.
No, well, little known facts. So let's start with the financial stuff, because that's what people really think about the most. Well, even
because when someone dies, the number one thing I think most people would think about is the money.
The money.
Exactly. What's the money? What's the stuff?
And yet there is no record of your bills, your bank accounts in your will, right? Nor should there be, right? Okay. And little known fact, most wills can't be executed without something called probate, which is a grant that the will is valid. And in order to get a grant of probate, you need an accurate statement of your assets and liabilities. Well, where is that? And how are you going to get that? So we help people with a roadmap to that. We are open banking enabled, so we can actually provide the estate with accurate information on file. So they're not writing to 20 banks, and most of the stuff, suffers from what I call the Ghostbusters problem. Like, who are you going to call? Yeah. Right? Like, you just don't know where you've got to start.
Where's the wallet?
Yeah, exactly. Are you going to start flipping through the credit cards?
It's like, where's the phone?
Yeah, so that's the financial stuff. And without the financial stuff, the rest of the will can't even start.
Right.
And then there's the practical stuff. And the practical stuff, we've got these complicated, invisible digital lives. Time was you could sit by the mailbox and someone's life would eventually
Yeah.
passing through it. But now you're searching through emails. If you've got the password to the computer that's probably operating on a fingerprint, and so
And
on.
you can't really cut a fingerprint. I can't really cut a.
Yeah, we don't want to be getting into that business.
No.
So we deal with things like where are the passwords stored?
Yeah.
Secure solutions for all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Where are the key online accounts that you want to manage? Like this notion of sort of the Facebook ghost that comes back to remind you that they're gone once a year, like that kind of thing. And then all of the water and the lights and the
utility stuff,
the utilities and the phone bills, and we help people with all of that stuff. And what people don't realize is that shut the mobile phone down.
You still get a monthly bill.
But you actually, in a lot of cases, you need it for two-factor authentication. That kind of stuff. Our lives have become wildly complicated.
Yeah, right.
And so
I forgot about two-factor.
Yeah. So when we get an instruction to close or transfer of mobile phone, we go, "Are you sure?"
Yeah.
Can we Can we pause that until you've done everything else? It's like the last thing you should do. Same goes with cloud accounts. People go, shut the Apple account. And they go, "Okay, so all that data
the photos, the emails."
So we're like a little bit of friction in that space, in the practical space. And then there's the personal stuff. And the personal stuff is everything from, heartfelt letters of true letters of wishes in terms of your aspirations for your kids, or, I don't have kids, but I do have, if I were to die today, I would want to make sure that there was a plan in place for someone to look after my mum.
Yeah.
And so, and I have friends.
Yeah. You do. Yeah.
That I care about too.
Yeah.
And so there's something for everybody. And, and I'm a, mad cat daddy. So that needs to be,
the pets are a big thing. Yeah, they are a big thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh.
So it's a lot to think about, but one module a day. Promise, that's all.
What are some of those moments people don't think about until it's too late?
Yeah, I think we've kind of covered. I think we've kind of gone through that in terms of it is about the specific details of any given aspect of your life, whether it is the financial or the personal, or maybe you've nominated a guardian for your child.
I want to change it, right?
100%. Yeah, and if if God forbid, neither you or your partner were here to pass on that information.
Yeah, it's tough.
Where do you start?
Yeah,
and you'd be amazed how quickly even just providing people with a basic roadmap on some of the big ticket items.
It makes
a huge difference.
Yeah, I think the time saving is a massive thing. The kids on a personal level, I think the kids' allergies, hobbies, hopes for their futures.
Yeah.
They're such a big conversation to have. And I think it should just be one that is included in there. And I think it's great that you are.
Yeah.
Have you seen, or have you had your customers come and tell you anything interesting that they've wanted to do in their...
Can't really talk about that kind of data. Well, in fact, I as a security measure, I can't even necessarily see that kind of data. Right? What I can tell you about what our product is for people.
Yeah, perfect.
Is, and so I'd mentioned we actually close and transfer bills and subscriptions on behalf of the incapacitated or the deceased, and that's a service you can actually do even if you haven't done the bill will. And I think on my what the fuck am I doing with my life moments, I go, I close and transfer bills on behalf of dead people. This is an incredible job. And yet, for the dozen or so families that we've already been able to help, it is a big deal. And just having someone else to help with that stuff is just so much more meaningful than I ever thought it would be.
Yeah.
And
because you probably didn't think about the human element of that. And, the grief is like a huge thing.
Absolutely. The mails that I get back from people when we're dealing with some of this perfunctory billing stuff, the mails that are sent, always look at the time, and it's always like at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, wow.
You know what I mean? So
so it's like one of the last things.
It's that preoccupation and that restlessness and that rumination that that we're able to help with.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. That's the stuff that I think, okay, there's no job too small.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think it's interesting, even with that, just talking to people about death is a hard thing.
100%.
Can you tell me how you went to the funeral conference and what do you actually talk about? What do you do when you get?
I mean, I think, I mean, listen, they're I mean, it's a vocation, right? In many ways, that industry, many generations have been in that industry, right?
yes.
So you're born into that industry. I mean, I think they're an incredible group of people, and they have a really good sense of humor about stuff.
Yeah.
Incredibly, they manage to balance respect with humor. And I think that for me has been the biggest takeaway that I've got from them. That they operate in these deeply sad, somber occasions, but they have a really sort of strong sense of when there are moments of lightness in the space. And I've learned a lot from them in terms of how to deal with it, like picking up on the cues. And I mean, I know through my own experience of it, there were plenty of times we were just killing ourselves laughing.
Yeah.
Killing ourselves laughing.
Yeah, probably not. Better use of words.
There's death. Well, don't get me started on death puns. We'll be here all day. So,
what have you learnt about what people really want to be remembered for?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is through those conversations with my father.
Yeah.
And through the process of starting another business at 48, doing all of this lunacy again. Like, I care about the business, but I think I share with a lot of people, they care about the relationships that they've had. Those are the things that define them. The loves that they've had and have. Those are the things that people want to that they cling to, and they're the things that they want to have remembered.
Yeah.
And when you can get to that, the beautiful thing about that is that's available to all of us. There's no sense of external achievement that prevents you from having and creating those beautiful relationships in your life.
Yeah.
Very democratic.
Yeah. How do you think sharing our stories can change how we live today, not just how we are remembered tomorrow?
In any moment where you take a pause to reflect, you are going to get a couple of things happen to you. Firstly, you're going to get this natural filtering effect of what really matters and what really stands out to you. So it helps you focus on those things. And the inverse applies as well.
Yeah.
You get a really strong sense of, what really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And if you write your own obituary, which the platform allows you to do if you want to, if you go through that exercise, it's an incredible act of just being in the present, really, and living with. You immediately begin to change your priorities. Who am I spending my time with?
Yeah.
What am I spending my time doing? And that's the real blessing of it. And so rather than being, I don't want to think about this, you think about, okay, well, what's my story if I were to die tomorrow? It's an incredibly good filtering exercise.
Yeah, I think that it does teach you how you can live with purpose, live intentionally,
100%.
and live in the present, rather than just living some other life that you really don't want to be living.
Yeah, 100%, with rules that other people made for you.
Exactly. Cuts through the crap and helps you crystallize how you want to be living.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you think this, by doing Bill Will, it has helped you cut through the crap?
Yeah, absolutely. Because as I was about to embark on yet another startup that was going to cost me so much more than anything I'd ever done before in an industry I knew nothing about. That thing.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
No.
And I realized most of the issues were really my own fears coming into play, and how much, and having just had the experiences that I had, like, I didn't want to be making decisions based in fear anymore. And that's, this was the ultimate act of fearlessness, really.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what have I got to lose.
Yeah. What if? What
Yeah,
if?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a friend of mine plays an amazing game with their family where they've got any anxiety or
Yes.
insecurities of what if.
Yeah.
And they get them to write down what if,
Yep.
from the positives to the negatives, but what if the business failed? What if, and it does help to go, why don't you just have a crack?
Have a crack, because the worst case scenario is often, even once you actually sort of give word to your feelings, and actually good psychological studies that even just giving words to your feelings mitigates them. So if you actually name a feeling, you can actually sometimes just calm it down a little bit. And particularly when it comes to fears or anxieties or insecurities, or in my case, with 3 of those things screaming all at once, then, leaning into it and actually giving the space to do that. It's really powerful.
What's your biggest learning in doing this?
That I think that nothing is as you think it is going to be. You have to start a business like this with a very clear vision of what you want the product and the future and the growth and all of that stuff to be. And I'm very blessed with a fantastic mentor, and he said to me, so it's not going to look anything like that. And I was like, it's like a curse, like, great. So what's it going to look like? It's like, don't know, but we're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And so letting go of being able to have that sort of duality of having a clarity and a purpose and a drive, and holding it really lightly and just accepting what comes is.
That's a good way of doing it, isn't it? Just being clear on what you want, but not how it's going to be delivered.
Yep. Yeah, and just kind of accepting that
things change,
and it's out of your control.
Absolutely,
So much out of your control.
Out of your control. Okay, very quick questions. Best piece of advice you've ever been given?
It's more important to be happy than right.
Okay, good. Most overrated idea about success?
That it is attached to any particular metric or milestone that's going to make you aforementioned happy. It's never going to do that for you.
Yep. If your life had a tagline right now, what would it be?
I'm in a romantic phase of my life, so I'm going to go, all you need is love.
Okay, great. Song that sums up your midlife vibe. And don't do that one.
No, I can't do that. No. I think, ironically, the one that my pump-up song at the moment is a 70s disco track called The Hustle, with the panpipes. And like the amount of hustle that I've had to whip out of like we met in our 20s when we thought we had game and hustle.
Yeah.
And so now I need a song to kind of get me back there.
Dream dinner guest, dead or alive, to talk about purpose and legacy.
I'm South African, as you can hear.
Yeah.
I would have to say Nelson Mandela.
Oh, yes.
Because particularly now, in a world where we are so unable to get past our particular differences and focus on the bigger picture, that was his incredible legacy. And we need so much more of that in the world right now. So I'd love to get some
perspective,
wisdom and guidance. Yeah, absolutely.
I wonder what he would say.
I think he'd be very sad.
I reckon he would be too.
Yeah.
Like really sad.
Really sad.
Because it's gone back such a long way.
We can have another podcast.
Yeah.
Another time.
Seriously. Okay. So what's one truth about success, meaning, or legacy that people need to stop ignoring and actually believe?
That it can wait.
Yeah. Okay.
That it can wait.
Yeah.
It can't wait. It needs to. You can make it happen today, and that your whatever it is that you choose to leave behind, it can't wait till tomorrow before you start figuring out what it is that it's going to be.
I think that is a great thing, isn't it? It's actually like start today.
Start now.
Start now.
Start small.
Start small. What's that one thing inside you that you just want to,
Sort, absolutely.
Yeah. What would yours be? So mine at the moment would be joy or vibrancy. Or joy or vibrant.
Yeah.
And that would be like just trying to spread that warmth and that happiness.
Yeah, for me it's connection.
Yeah, right.
You know, the connections that I make with people on a day-to-day basis. This has been like so much fun. But it is those the great thing about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone this way is that you get to meet lots of different people in
Yeah.
lots of different domains. And sometimes, you know, it can feel like you're very much on the outside of what is happening. But when those moments of connection happen and people get you and what you're doing and the kind of person that you really are, that's everything.
That's a good one. That's a good, and it's, you know, it rings true because I was on the phone to one of my good friends just as I was walking in here, and we were talking about that connection and finding your fit and, you know, questioning sometimes whether you are in that right fit.
100%.
And the connections are, you know, the connections don't have to be in all areas of your life.
No.
But they have to be in the ones that matter.
Yeah. And then, you know, as the big 5-0 approaches, you know, it's the first person you connect with is yourself, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's it. Like we forget that, you know, you are in your life with you.
Yeah.
And if you are not connected to you and what you're thinking and being present with you, that's, you know, that's a big one.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay.
Okay, big finish.
Last question. Before we wrap, if you could challenge me to do something before I turn 50, something that pushes me, makes me think, or just questions what I'm doing, what would it be?
Challenging you, because you see, I'm going to say something, even though I think you're pretty fearless from what I know of you, but I know that none of us are as fearless as we appear to be.
Yeah.
And so, and you've made some big changes in your life, but there is always an opportunity for the next time you're feeling torn in a decision.
Yeah.
I want you to lean into the fear that is making you torn and acting as if that fear didn't exist.
Okay.
So the next time you're feeling hesitation, it's probably going to be fear, and you have to just pick up that fear and put it consciously to the side.
Okay. I've got something in mind for that.
I was like, is that too esoteric? And you're like, no, I know what we're doing there.
No, I know exactly what it is. Okay,
Do
great.
you? Yeah. Something making you a little edgy? Yeah. Okay. So
edgy,
if fear had no role to play for you,
what
would your decision be?
And see, it's interesting because fear, like I normally couldn't give a shit what anyone thinks
100%.
or whatever because it's all more about me. But there is still that fear that sometimes does drive you.
Yep.
And go, well, what if? And back to that, what if?
Yeah.
What if? What if it fails?
Yeah.
But what if it works out?
So I'm telling you right now that fear doesn't exist.
The fear doesn't exist and just do it. Go forth. Go forth and see what happens. Great.
Awesome.
Have I missed anything?
Absolutely not.
Okay, great.
I'm out of fresh out material.
Okay, good. Colin, thank you for bringing your honesty, your depth and humour to a conversation that could easily have been heavy. But somehow you make it inspiring, practical and human.
Thank you.
All about connections,
100%.
which is what you want. You remind us that success isn't a finishing line. It's a feeling. And legacy, which I do think we need to start talking about this more. And just the small things in legacy. It's not what we leave behind, but it's how we show up while we're here. Through the stories we tell, the people we love, and the choices we make every day. You've shown that midlife isn't about slowing down because you're obviously speeding up. It's about doing things with more clarity, compassion, and meaning. And if anyone is curious about starting or capturing your own stories and wisdom, check out Bill Will. It's a beautiful reminder that our stories are our legacies and you can actually start one module at a time.
Awesome.
Do you like that?
I love that. That's going all over my socials. Thank you.
And if this episode made you pause, smile, or think a little bit deeper about getting your shit sorted and making sure that your kids' lives are easier at the other end, share it with someone who might need to hear it too. Or just start getting your shit organised and start now. Start building your legacy, start planning, Start doing it because We're nearly 50, and isn't it amazing?